Hey guys, today we're going to talk about something pretty cool. This is the Micro-Roni by CAA. It's essentially a blank chassis that you drop your Glock pistol into and turn it into kind of a mid-size shoulder mounted, if you're brave enough to mount your shoulder onto the SB tactical brace. And it's a neat little design. It is a patent pending design. Let's take a real close look at this, and then we're going to show how you actually mount your pistol into the Micro-Roni itself. The entire Micro-Roni is made out of polymer, a good high density, high impact polymer. It's very well made. It comes in a variety of colors. You can get it in black, flat dark earth, or army green. It does have a full-length Picatinny rail on top. That is a nice touch in the event you want to mount some optics on top of it. You really don't need to mount a light on it because, as you see, there's a front opening here that will come with a blank if you don't get the upgraded model that has the flashlight. This is the actual flashlight, and this is how easy it goes in and out. You'll notice these brake pedals, I call them brake pedals, that you put on the side here. That's to rest your thumb on whenever you're shooting this. This thing being relatively short, you want to be pretty careful to keep that support hand back and far enough away and a safe distance away from your actual muzzle. Now, speaking of the muzzle, as you can see, this thing is wide open. It's about the size of a shotgun barrel. The reason why is because it takes multiple calibers. Your round is never touching this gun when it's being shot. It's being fired out of the muzzle of your Glock, which is embedded inside the Micro-Roni, so it flies straight through this opening and out. So it is not caliber specific, but it is size specific. This particular model will take a Glock 19, 23, and 32. Of course, those are three different calibers, but they are all the same size frame. So all of those frames will fit in here. This is for the mid-size Glocks. You can get the Micro-Roni for the subcompact Glocks, or you can get the Micro-Roni for the full-size Glocks. Now, in order to mount your Glock into the chassis, what you're going to need to do is press this release right here down and slide this little door back. It will open up, and then you remove this little piece right here. This piece right here is pretty much the cocking device that you're going to align with the serrations on your Glock. The easiest way that I found, it's going to roll in it like that. The easiest way that I found is to basically line your serrations up on your Glock and on the device here, and just roll the thing into place, and it will fall right into place. This thing is rubber, polymer, so it's not going to scratch or mar your slide. Once you've done that, you want to go ahead and release your slide, because your slide or your Glock is not going to fit into the Micro-Roni with the slide open. Obviously, make sure it's not loaded. Then you simply slide your Glock into the Micro-Roni, push it in place. You notice where it's actually sitting even right there, and slide it all the way forward until it actually locks into place. So you can tell it's in place right there. Now you bring your door back down again, push it until it clicks, and then push this forward. You're locked in place now. If you notice, your release right here popped up and actually locked the whole door into place. Now you're good to go. Again, you see why it was necessary put that cocking piece on your Glock, because that's how you're actually going to charge the slide in the Micro-Roni. Removing your Glock from the chassis is just as easy, if not easier, than putting it in there. Obviously easier, you got to aim it in there. You push this release button down, pull the door back, slide the door open, then you have these two little wings on both sides right there. Those are actually grabbing hold of your Picatinny rail. That's what it's doing. It's holding the Picatinny rail, so you pull those down away from you. I'm pulling them this way. Grab both sides. Using your other hand, I just slide this back and then rock the pistol directly out. Of course, that's not supposed to come off with it, but it did. No big deal. But yeah, as you can see, the rail right here is what's being held by that. So that's kind of what holds it in place. I'm curious with that little bit of play if that is going to be an issue, because I will tell you, this thing here, you know, it's just resting inside here. As we said earlier, the bullet never touches this. The projectile actually never touches the barrel, or the opening, I should say. That's not even really a barrel, a muzzle. So I'm just wondering, I don't see, I mean, you see the play is so minimal. I mean, that's really the magazine, actually. Get the magazine out of there. I mean, that's just rocking it back and forth. I don't feel any slop in there, but with that being said, you would expect with the gun essentially just riding inside the chassis that if you torqued it to one side or the other, you might get a little bit of inaccuracy. But again, I think that offsets the accuracy that you gain by having more to hold on to and a longer sight radius to be able to aim. All right, guys, as I always do, I set my target up, my steel target here at 7 yards. That is your standard roughly 20-foot area that you're going to have from an engagement standpoint for an attacker. So I always like to start there. It's a nice starting point to get you comfortable, get you a little bit warmed up shooting the gun. I've never shot this thing before. In fact, I better, if I plan to actually hit anything with it, better get these sights up. Okay, the sights come with these little levers here. There we go. They pop up like that. All right, so I got iron sights now, and again, I've never shot this thing before, so let's see how it goes. And I just popped that in there because it just didn't feel like it went in all the way, but it did. All right, charge it. Good to go. Because this thing is so short, I feel like I automatically want to put my hand in front of it. I'm not going to go in front of the muzzle, obviously, but I feel like I want to come further out here. So probably be really careful to make sure that you stay back behind the muzzle, you know, stay tight to your body as you're doing, just to make a conscious effort to do that. If you notice, you've got your, I guess you could call it like a safety lever. It's more of a block than a safety. There is a mild little small detent in there that helps that thing go up. It's basically blocking your trigger guard from being able to put a finger in there. Not much of a safety because the detent is not positive enough to where it really locks it in place. But I can tell you it is easy enough to where if you slide your finger just right in there, it moves out of the way so you can get in there next to your trigger pretty fast if you're just trying to make it a one range with one finger. But anyway, I wouldn't classify that as a safety. The detent, again, is just not strong enough to hold it in place. It's more of just like a guard, I guess, to keep you out of the trigger guard there. Let's see here. Pretty tight, man. That's pretty tight. All right, guys. You might have noticed, as I certainly did, especially with my left ear, I didn't have my ear protection on. Sometimes that's probably happened to me 3 times. This is probably the 3rd time then. I always like to show those things. I always like to show that we are all human and sometimes we do things that aren't very smart, and I'm not immune to that. Obviously, I had my ear protection sitting out on my bumper, and I was doing some other things, loading some magazines, and did not put them on. So please be aware of that. Don't make the same mistakes that I do. Ear protection, eye protection, always a must. And I do not shoot without them unless I screw up. And I screwed up, so my apologies, guys. I'm gonna get back on this target now. I wanted to leave this in there, though. It's important for you guys to see that. Again, I'm kind of tight. Oh, and I did hit the shot, by the way. Very stable, very easy to make those follow-up shots. I'm gonna push this target out there and see from an accuracy standpoint if I actually gain anything from that. Because that's ridiculous. That's very, very easy. All right, guys, now I'm set up out here at 25 yards, from my 7 yards out to 25. I actually have some adjustments I can make on my sights here to see if I can get my aperture a little tighter. Actually, that's what I shot with the first time. So let me see at 25 yards how accurate I am on the Micro-Roni. Let's see. The hole looks pretty big. I don't know if I'm shooting high or low. It's not very accurate at 25 yards. I'm going to close in about 10 yards and see what it does. All right, so I'm still at 15 yards. All right, guys, I painted my steel black. And the reason for that is because I can't tell where I'm missing with the Micro-Roni. So I'm gonna back up to about 15 yards, see where I'm missing, and try to correct that when I move back to my normal 25 yards. So let me give that a whirl. All right, guys, hopefully I don't get caught by the rain, as you can see behind me. I want you to see kind of what I'm looking at. I really don't know if you're gonna be able to see that. But as you can see with those flip up sights, what I'm looking at, this aperture on the back is, it's small. And if it were a full size standard AR-15, full mid, standard length, then my eye would be far enough away from here where it would make that a little more precise. But because I'm so close to it, I'm right on top of it, it makes that aperture big. So I'm basically putting my front sight, this is probably a better example, it's basically my front sight looks that big inside my front sight, my back sight. My front post looks like that. Instead of being small like that, it's like that big. So I've got too much play. So I'm at 15 yards here. Let me see where, let's see here. This thing here, that's one thing I do not like about this. This is something I'm glad happened, although I'm not glad because we have the rain behind us. I noticed when I was playing with this the other day that the bolt hold open, this little device right here is supposed to activate it. All right, and I'm not loaded, by the way. I'm totally unloaded. Nothing in the chamber, magazine I just pulled out. So anyway, this thing here is kind of a pain because now for some reason I'm not able to use this, which is supposed to release it, and it's not releasing it. It's supposed to be able to use this right here to push it down, and it's not. What I'm going to do, and I found a way to do this the other day, is I'm going to hold the slide back a little bit, and I'm going to get my trusty little Southern Grind Damascus blade knife here. I'm going to push that mag stop in there. Where's that thing at? And I can hear the wind brewing up. It's about to get raining. There we go. See, that's not supposed to happen like that. I should not have to do that. The bolt hold open button on here should work. Now, with it closed, it works fine. I can load it, charge it, and we're good to go. But the bolt hold open, whenever it holds the bolt open, I can't re-engage it with this button. Maybe it's my model, I don't know. All right, guys, I'm gonna aim right for the center of the target. I'm gonna get as far back off of this as I can. Totally missed it. Okay. I had to aim low. All right, it looks like the thing wants to naturally go to the right. So I'm gonna aim to the left part of the target. Yeah, that's what it is. It's shooting high and right. So let me move you guys back with me. Now let's see, at 20, I was at 15 yards here. Taking you for a walk with me. I like to keep the camera rolling because too many of the haters out there like to say that we did something during the cuts and all that. So I like to keep my camera rolling whenever I can. All right, you can still see my marks down there on my steel, maybe. Again, I was shooting, it was aiming high and to the right. Let me see if I can make those modifications. Chop 5 yards off of that. Let's see where I'm at now. Just grazed it right there. I'm at 20 yards now. Just can't seem to do it at 25. Well, I guess I was a little more than 20. There we go. Finally hitting at 20 yards, or 25 yards. All right. Okay, so I got it. I'm having to, if you see my, let me move down there, guys. Let me take that camera off and show you guys. Let you take a walk with me. All right, look at our sky. How about that? Welcome to Louisiana. Blue sky, Black sky. As you can see, I was aiming at 25 yards. I was aiming here, like right here I was aiming at. And you see where it's hitting, all up in this area. I think it hit on my bolt. So again, things definitely, the alignment, I can adjust those sights a little bit, but I'm definitely, you know, you're gonna have to make a mental note of that if you're gonna be one to use this for a bug out type situation and try to shoot at any real distance. I think making those modifications though would be fine, because if you notice, once I modified where I was shooting at and stayed consistent to right here, it was hitting every time. So that's the good news. Clearly there's not enough play with that frame inside that chassis to where it's actually affecting the shot. That's one thing I was worried about, was did the gun have, since it's just resting inside, even though it is tight, was there enough play to where that thing actually would lose accuracy? And it seems like from the consistency that I got from this that it did not lose accuracy based on that. So not enough play right there. Let me guess, now everybody wants to start talking about how practical the Micro-Roni is, right? Look, sometimes we just get things that are fun to use, fun to shoot, fun to actually work with. This is one of those things. It's very cool. I do feel like if you had the Micro-Roni without a pistol in it at the ready in your, say, bug out bag, or say under the seat of your truck or something of that nature, the stability that you're gonna have with a longer firearm is, in my opinion, to give you a better shot. I don't think there's enough slop, enough play with the Glock frame inside this chassis to really affect your shot that much more than the benefit that you have of having the longer device that you can actually shoulder if you want to. I didn't say that. So I feel like you do gain some advantages. So if you had a bug out gun and it just happened to be a Glock 19, well, you could have that gun on your side and then keep this empty chassis in your truck or in your bug out bag. And again, you could gain a little bit of stability if you were decided to take it hunting or something like that. So I do think there's some good uses for it. Definitely a lot of fun, man. I would certainly get the one that's all decked out. You can get the additions of the flip up sights, the brake pedals, the light. You can get those things for about 160 or 170 bucks. I got mine off of Optics Planet. So nevertheless, you're going to save some money by buying it as a package deal. CAA does sell that, but again, I got mine off of Optics Planet. So check it out, man. The Micro-Roni, again, it's made by CAA. It's a lot of fun, man. It's really a lot of fun. It's one of those kind of things that until you actually put your hands on, I guess you don't realize how much of a blast it is to shoot. And again, I felt like I got some distance shots that I was very happy with that maybe I couldn't have made quite so fast from a follow-up standpoint if I were just shooting the Glock by itself without the chassis. See you guys next time. Hey, as I always say, you know, shoot straight, be safe, take an older person to the range, take a kid to the range, you know, reintroduce the older person, but introduce the young person, teach them gun safety, gun responsibility. Remember that we as responsible gun owners have a huge responsibility, because the anti-gun movement out there is just waiting for us to make one little small move, and being unsafe is one thing that they're actually waiting on us to do. So as long as we continue to be responsible and safe the way we operate and handle and carry our firearms, that gives the left, or the anti-gunners at least, no additional fuel to throw onto their own fire. Regardless of how fabricated it is. So we'll see you guys next time. Please go out and stay defending the Second Amendment as we all do.